السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, today we are continuing from where we stopped in the previous lesson. And if you can remember, we're looking at Al-Manara Tutahaddas part 3. And so we got to this particular point. Okay. So without wasting much time, let's just continue. So the author Sheikh continued here by saying that وَهَاجَرَ هَؤُلَاءِ سَنَةً. So those people, you can remember, he says that a group Allah, raised or brought among the Indians a bunch of young men, إِصَابَةٌ مِنَ الْغِلْمَانِ, a bunch of young men, okay, مُخْلِصِينَ, they were very sincere. And so these people, we said we are going to see what they were. They also try to liberate their land from the English people. So let's see what happens. So that's what the continuation is going to take from, where it will take from. So it says that وَهَاجَرَ هَؤُلَاءِ سَنَةَ 1241. They migrated in this year إلى سُغُورِ الهند, to the border of India. Okay, Suguru actually means it comes from Sagra. Sagra means the border of something, the front part of something. Okay, وَرَفَعُوا رَايَةَ الْجِهَادِ ضِدُّ السِّكَّةِ, and then they raised the flag. Okay, rayata, it means banner. Okay, banner. Okay, they raised the banner of jihad ضِدُّ السِّكَّةِ, against the Sikha people. So this is a group of people called Sikha. So they went and then they started to wage war against them. وَبَايَعَ النَّاسُ إِمَامَهُ السَّيِّدْ أَحْمَدِ, and people took, they pledged alliance to their king, who was Sayyid Ahmad. Okay, وَكَادَتِ الْحَرْبُ بَيْنَهُمْ وَبَيْنَ السِّكَّةِ سِجَالًا, and the war between them and then the Sikha people, it was sijalan, meaning, when we say sijal, it means even. Okay, one time you win, another time you lose. So such thing is called sijalan. Okay, it's not, you don't get to win all the time. You win sometime, another time you lose, and they also win. So that was what was happening. وَسَمِعْتُ بَعْدَ قَلِيلٍ أَنَّهُمْ فَتَحُوا أَرْضًا وَاسِعَةً, and I heard that after some time they were able to conquer a great portion of the land. وَأَسَّسُوا إِمَارَةً عَلَى مِنْهَاجِ الْخِلَافَةِ الرَّاشِدَةِ, and then they established an emirate. Okay, imaratan, an emirate, عَلَى مِنْهَاجِ الْخِلَافَةِ الرَّاشِدَةِ, on the methodology of the Khilafat al-Rashida that we all know. وَنَفَّذُوا فِيهَا أَحْكَامَ الشَّرْعِ, and then they applied. نَفَّذَ يُنَفِّذُ, it means to apply something. Okay, they applied therein, in the city where they conquered, ahkam al-shara', the rulings of sharia, wa aqamu salat, and then they even established salat, wa atawu zakat, and then they were encouraging the giving of zakat, wa amaru bil ma'ruf, and then they commanded with what is good, wa nahaw anil munkar, and then they forbade evil, wa fatahu bishawara asimat as-sugur, and then they even conquered Peshawar, okay, the capital of Sugur. And Sugur, as I already said, Sugur, the regions around the border. Okay, Peshawar was the capital of those regions that were around the border, so they conquered it. Okay, فَعَظُمَ شَأْنُهُمْ, and so their status was magnified, their status was elevated. They became, people whom importance is attached to in the community. Then وَكَاتِبُ أَمِيرَ Bukhara, and then they wrote, kataba, kataba can mean different things, but here it means to write to. So they wrote letters to Amir al-Bukhara, the prince of Bukhara, Wajitral, and even Jitral, وَأُمَرَاءُ Afghanistan, and then the princes of Afghanistan. وَكَانُوا يُرِيدُونَ أَن يُقِيمُونَ دَوْلَةً شَرْعِيَّةً مُسْتَقِلَّةً فِي الْهِنْدِ, and so they wanted to establish an independent Sharia state in India. That was what they wanted. كنت أسمع ذلك كله, I used to hear all that. والناس يفرحون, and people were rejoicing. وأنا أخاف لأني لم أكن آمن عليهم من المسلمين الغدر والخيانة, and I was afraid all those times that people were being happy, people were happy and rejoicing about the vision and the striving of these young men to re-establish Islam in the land. I was afraid. I was scared. Why? The anni lam akun amin, because I didn't feel secure. I didn't feel safe alayhim, over them. I was afraid for them. Min al-Muslimin al-Gadar wal-Khiyana, from among the Muslims, treachery and betrayal. He feared that the Muslims themselves, people among the Muslims, people hypocritically, they will act treacherously and even betray their own people. وَهُمَا مِنْ أَمْرَادِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and they are among those two things, they are among the sickness of the Muslims. وَلَمْ تَذْهَبْ دَوْلَتُهُمْ إِلَّا بِقَدَرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَخِيَانَتِهِمْ. What he has said has happened. لَمْ تَذْهَبْ دَوْلَتُهُمْ, that states that the Dawlatul Mustaqilla that you are seeing here, that they established, it went away, it collapsed. He says that it didn't collapse إِلَّا بِقَدَرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, except with the treachery of the Muslims themselves, وَخِيَانَتِهِمْ, and even their betrayal. Some people among the Muslims betrayed. That's what he said. وَنِفَاقِهِمْ, and even hypocrisy. وَسَامَحْنِي يَا سَيِّدِي فِي هَذَا الْإِتْحَابِ الْمُرِّ فَلِيَ الْأُسَرَ. So pardon me, we are the one he's referring to as Sayyidi, Master. Okay, so the minaret is telling us, pardon me. Okay, why? في هذا الإتاب المر, in this, bitter reproach. Okay, he's reproaching those hypocrites among the Muslims. A bitter reproach. He says that فَلِيَ الْأُزُرُ, for I have an excuse. وَكُنْتُ أَخَافُ ذَلِكَ خَاصَّةً فِي تِلْكَ الْبِلَادِ, and I feared that, especially in that particular land. وَلَمْ تَمْدِ يَا سَيِّدِي أَيَّامٌ قَلِيلَةٌ, and few days didn't pass, حتى وقع ما كنت أحذره, except that what I feared happened. فقد سمعت أنه غدر بهم الأمراء الأفغان. I've heard that the Umara, the princes of Afghan, they betrayed, they acted treacherously towards them. وقتلوا نوابهم, and they killed their representative, وأمالهم, and even their workers. Sujadan wa qiyaman, in sujud and even in standing in standing in prayers. وَسَمِعْتُ أَنَّهُمُ الْآنَ فِي طَرِيقِهِمْ إِلَى كَشْمِير, and I heard that currently they are on their way to Kashmir. Let's see what happens. He says that ثُمَّ سَمِعْتُ بَعْدَ أَيَّامٍ أَنَّهُمْ دَهَمَهُمُ الْعَدُوُّ فِي وَادِ بَالَكُوت فِي جِبَالِ هَزَارَ. ثُمَّ سَمِعْتُ, then afterwards he heard that they were on their way going to Kashmir. So, their state collapsed, and so they were going to Kashmir. What happened? After some days, he heard that dahamahumul adu, that the enemy. When we say dahama, it's a very nice word. It means to hide and then come out all of the sudden in front of your enemy unexpectedly. Okay, so such thing is called dahama. The enemy is not aware of you, and then all of a sudden just appear suddenly in front of him. Okay, so you ambush the person, and then all of a sudden when he's not aware, then you come out. That is dahama. So dahama humul adu, the enemy was hiding in ambush, and then he just appeared all of a sudden. Fi wadi balakut, in the valley of Balakut, fi jibali hazara, okay, in the mountain of Hazara. وذلك بدسيسة بعض المسلمين أيضا, and even that, it was as a result of the plot. Dasisa, it means plot, okay, of some Muslims. وَقُتِلَ أَكْثَرُهُمْ, and several of them were killed. وَلَمْ يَنْجُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا الْقَلِيلِ, and only a few of them survived. None survived except a few of them. وكانت هذه الحادثة العليمة سنة 1246, and this painful incident, okay, it happened in the year 1246. وهكذا ضاعت هذه الفرصة الثمينة, and that is how this precious opportunity was lost. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَمْرُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَمِنْ بَعْدِ, and to Allah belong the matter. The matter solely lies in the hands of Allah, way before even afterwards. وأعود الحديث الإنجليزي وأقول إنهم اختلقوا ذنوبا على الأمراء. And so he turned to the story of the English people, and then he said that إنهم اختلقوا ذنوبا على الأمراء. They just invented sins, bimana blame on the umara, on the prince, to act against them. And that's what happens, you know, they say that when you want to kill a dog, you give it all sorts of bad names. Okay, you are trying to harm someone, but the person hasn't committed any sin. There's no blame on him. So what you do is that you try to invent. So ikhtalaqa, it means to invent, to come up, to fabricate something, to come up with your own lies, okay, so that it will give you an excuse to hate the person. So that was what the English people were doing. They were inventing, all sorts of things. Even if you look at somewhere around the 1930s, that was what the Nazis, they did. The German, that was the time this person Hitler was there. You know, he fabricated some lies so that it could give him an excuse to invade Poland. You know, in the late 1930s, that was what he did. So such thing is ikhtalaqa. So ikhtalaku zuruban, that was what the English people were also doing in India. Okay, but the thing that the country will be at calm. They'll just get up one night and say, okay, someone attacked us last night and we suspect it's from your people, and all of a sudden they are now coming to attack you. Meanwhile, they just know it's a fabricated excuse. It doesn't exist. So that's what he's saying. كما سمعت في قصة الذئب والنعجة, as you have heard in the kissa, the story of the zab, the wolf, and then even the wolf and then the sheep. That's what happens when the wolf want to eat the sheep. It will create a lie, okay, an excuse, so that it will go and attack him. So he says that وَانْتَزَعُوا Punjab. So they took over Punjab. Intaza'a, it means to seize something forcefully from someone. They forcefully seize it. Was sinned. So they did that, and then they attacked and seized Punjab and sinned, and even sinned. While Bema, this is Bema, that they have wrote in Arabic like that, Bema. While Auda, and even Auda, Wamtalakuha, and so they had rulership over it. They took it, and then they became the custodians of it. Wantabaha al-Hindiyuna min subatihim, and the Indians, they woke up from their slumber. When this happened, they now got to realize that the situation is very serious. By the time, if we don't take time, by the time we realize the whole country is gone, they will seize the whole country. You know, so they woke up from their slumber. وَاجْتَهَدُوا أَنْ يَتَخَلَّصُوا مِنَ الْإِنْجِلِيزَ, and they tried to do away with the English people in the year 1857. Okay, in this particular year they tried. That was 1857, in the year 1957. They tried to do away with the English people, and let's see what happened when they realized they tried, and let's see what happens. فَكَانَتْ ثَوْرَةٌ كَبِيرَةٌ, and so it was a great revolution. Okay, وَلَكِنْ فَشَلَ أَيْضًا بِسُوءِ نِظَامِ الْهِنْدِيِّينَ, by the poor organization of the Indians, it collapsed. فَشَلَ, it wasn't successful. وَرَسَخَتْ قَدَمُ الْإِنْجِلِيزَ, and so the feet of the Indians, or of the English people, it became, very firm. So after they did it, they tried and didn't succeed, they became very strong. The English people rather became strong. وَعَاقَبُوا الْهِنْدِيِّينَ إِقَابًا شَدِيدًا, and then they tortured. Aqaba, it means to punish. So they punished the Indians severe punishment because of what they did, and they didn't succeed. وَعَذَابًا عَلِيمًا, and a very painful punishment. وَفَتَكُوا بِالْبَيْتِ الْمُلْكِي فَتْكًا شَدِيدًا, and they destroyed the royal house where the royal is. They destroyed it. فَتْكًا شَدِيدًا, severe destruction. وَأَسَرُوا بَهَادِرِ الشَّاهِ, and they captured Bahadur Shah, who was the leader of this revolution. وَنَفَوْهُ إِلَى Rankun, and then they expelled him to Rankun. Let's see what happens. وَمِنْ ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ عَفَلَ نَجْمُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ فِي هَذِهِ الدِّيَارِ, and in that day, after that revolution failed, after Najmul Muslimin, the sun, the star of the Muslims set, is an expression to mean they declined. Their matter started declining. They flopped. That's what he said. They are in this particular place. وَانْحَطُّوا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالدِّينِ, and they dropped, they flopped, they declined. Things began to fall apart. وَرَضَوْا بِالذُّلِّ وَالْعُبُودِيَّةِ, and then they were content. They accepted the humiliation and slavery. They were content with it. That was what was happening. وَفَسَدَتِ الْأَخْلَاقِ, and moralism, mannerism became corrupted. وَسَقَطَتِ الْهِمَمُ, and enthusiasm dropped. They didn't have the enthusiasm again to fight back for their land or to establish Islam again. وَضَاقَتِ الْأَرْزَاقِ, and sustenance, means of living, final sustenance, it became very tight. وَغَلَتِ الْأَسْعَارِ, and prices. Sa'ar is a price, so as'ar is prices. The prices of things became very high. وَعَمَّتِ الْمَجَاعَاتِ, Maja'a is this one, famine. Okay, so Amma, it became very, very common. Everywhere you go, there's famine. وَعُطِّلَتِ الْمَدَارِسِ, and even madrasas were abandoned. وَأَكْفَرَتِ الْزَوَايَا, and zawaya, okay, zawiya, okay, corner of religious studies, the corner where so a sheikh and then his students are sitting to study. All these things, they became depopulated. Okay, Akfara, it means for the population to reduce significantly. You go there, you see only 1 or 2 people. It's the number has declined significantly. That is Akfara. So if you go to Zawaya, okay, it's religious circles of knowledge. Okay, people weren't there again. Our Hashatil Masajid, and even Masajid, okay, they were desolated. Okay, they were left unattended to. That's our Hasha. It means to desolate something. Okay. وفي سنة 1947, and in the year 1947, تحررت البلاد من الإنجليز. The land was finally freed from the English people. The land was freed from the English people. وقعت اضطرابات الهائلة, and a very severe disturbances occurred. Ittirab means disturbance. Ha'ila, it means loud, something very severe. So a very severe disturbance occurred, and that was how the land was conquered. It was freed from the English people. وَهَاجَرَ كَثِيرٌ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ مِنْ بِلَادِهِمْ, and several of the Muslims, they migrated from their homes. Because of these disturbances, they left their homes. وَقَامَتْ لَهُمْ دَوْلَةٌ فِي شِمَالِ الْهِنْدِ الْغَرْبِيِّ, and an independent state, a state was established for them in the Shimal al-Hind al-Gharbi, the western north of India. Okay, and the remaining ones remained in the government of the Indian government. And they have lost their energy. And hopelessness took over them. Al-Yas bimana hopelessness. Okay, from Ya'isa, Ya'iasu. It means to lose hope. Yas is hopelessness. وَلَسْتُ قَانِتًا يَا سَيِّدِي مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ, and I am not the one who has lost hope in the mercy of Allah. وَهَلْ يَقْنَتُ مِنْ رَحْمَةِ رَبِّهِ إِلَّا الضَّالُّونَ, and does he lose hope in the mercy of his Lord except those who are misguided, those who are astray? This is a Quranic verse that he have put there. Okay, this is between Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and the angels. Okay, when the angels came to inform him. So this, you can find this in Surah Al-Hijr. It could be in Surah Al-Hijr or even Surah Al-A'raf. These are some of the surahs that have that conversation between Ibrahim والسلام, and the missing and the angels. So that's where this is taken from, and then it has been put here. Okay, Etirat. Then he says that walam ayas min nahdatil muslimin, and I haven't lost hope in the rising of the Muslims. فإني رأيت طول هذه المدة, for I've seen throughout this period the Muslims are كالشمس إذا غربت في جهة طلعت في جهة أخرى. If they set in a particular direction, or if they disappear in a particular direction, طلعت في جهة أخرى, they rise, okay, in another direction. That's how the Muslims are. If they fall here, they rise there. That's what he said. وأنهم لم يجب لهم نجم إلا وطلع لهم نجم أخرى. They haven't lost a star, except that a star will rise for them again. That's how the Muslims have always been. If we lose a star will rise again from among the Muslims. فإن مستقبل العالم معقود بناصيتهم. For indeed, the future of the world is tied to their forehead. That's what Sheikh is telling us. The future of the world is tied to Muslims, the forehead of Muslims. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَسَادَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And indeed, Allah doesn't love fasad, corruption in the land. وَلَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِهِ الْكُفْرِ. And He's not pleased for disbelief. He's not pleased of disbelief for His slaves. That's what Sheikh is telling us. He says that اقرأ إلى أمتك مني السلام. Okay, greet my people. Say salam to your ummah. The minaret is telling us, okay, myself and then you and everyone who is reading this, we should say salam to the ummah. وَقُلْ لَهَا, and say to it, إِنِّي أُشْهِدُ اللَّهَ أَنَّ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةَ مَا أَفْلَحَتْ إِلَّا بِالتَّمَسُّكِ بِالدِّينِ. I have called Allah to witness that هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةَ مَا أَفْلَحَتْ. This ummah has never succeeded. It hasn't succeeded before. إِلَّا بِالتَّمَسُّكِ بِالدِّينِ, except with holding firm onto the religion. That's the only thing that will give us success. Holding firm onto the religion. That's what the minaret is telling us. وَمَا خَسِرَتْ إِلَّا بِالْغَفْلَةِ عَنِ الدِّينِ. And it hasn't been in loss except being heedless of the religion. When we throw the religion at our back, that's when we are going to be in a severe loss. That's what the minaret is telling us. وَلَمْ يُصْلِحَ آخِرَ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ إِلَّا مَا أَصْلَحَ أَوَّلَهَا. In this ummah, nothing will correct it. أَصْلَحَ يُصْلِحُ, it means to correct something. It's telling us that nothing will correct this ummah except that which corrected the first ummah. What corrected them? التمسك بالدين, التمسك بالقرآن, التمسك بالسنة. Hold them firmly to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet. That was what gave them success. That was what corrected them. So he's saying that nothing will correct us except by that which corrected the first people. That's what he said. He's telling us. هذا الذي شهدته واختبرته. This is what I have witnessed and I have experienced. اختبر means to experience something. So that the minaret is telling us that that's what he has seen throughout history. And that is what happens. Sometimes someone say, how do we solve the issue of Palestine and other places where Muslims are being tortured around the world? This is something very easy. We have to go back and hold fast onto what the Salaf were holding on, what they were being upon, the Sahabis. They were very few, but they were able to succeed. They were very, very few. But they are those who spread Islam. But we look at how many we are, how plenty we are, but still a very small portion of land. Muslims are being tortured and we can't even do anything. What happened? It's because of the approach that we are following a wrong methodology. We have to go back to the methodology that they were upon. That's, from my view, that's what I think. And that's what the minaret is saying here. That's what has been the listen throughout history, the trend throughout history. You know, when people come and hold on to Allah Azza wa Jal, they are going to succeed in every, because Allah says, Allah will certainly help the one who help him. How? These people, they were fighting not because of anything. They were fighting solely that, Islam is going to be that which is going to be on the earth. They were not fighting for their whims and desires. You know, look at people like Umar radiallahu anhu. Umar was the one who led people and went and conquered Palestine. You know, Allah says that وَلَقَدْ كَتَبْنَا فِي الزَّبُورِ مِنْ بَعْدِ الذِّكْرِ أَنَّ الْأَرْضَ يَرِثُهَا عِبَادِيَ الصَّالِحُونَ. Allah has already promised the earth is going to be ruled. Allah is going to inherit the earth to his righteous slaves. So when we don't come back to slavery, enslaving ourselves to Allah Azza wa Jal, then there's no way we can, Allah promise you, is a kind of, how do I see it, conditional statement that Allah says. Okay, if you do this is what you get. If you hold on to Allah, this is what you get success. If you throw Allah away, you'll be lost every time. So that's what happens. You know, we have to come back and hold fast onto what the Prophet, the Sahabas were holding on. You know, so that's what he's saying here. وَاخْتَبَرْتُهُ فِي هَذِهِ الْقُرُونِ الْمُتَطَوَّلَةِ. In this prolonged centuries, that's what I have seen. وَلَا يُنَبِّئُكَ مِثْلُ خَبِيرٍ. And no one will inform you properly except the one who has full news. وَلَمَّا انْتَحَتِ الْمَنَارَةُ مِنْ كَلَامِهَا. And when the minaret finished its conversation, انصرفت عنها, I move away from it. ورجعت إلى مكاني, and I returned to my place. وبت ليلتي أفكر فيما سمعت, and I spend the night pondering over what I have heard. وبادرت في الصباح فقيدت حديث المساء, and I hastened in the morning to record the evening conversation of the minaret. So that's what Sheikh is telling us here. Badara means to hasten. Okay, Badara yubadiru, it means to hasten in something. Okay, so he hastened in the morning. Faqayyatu hadith al-masa, and he recorded the hadith, the conversation that the minaret has with him in the evening. That is the end of this particular very beautiful lesson. And I have said there's a very great lesson for us. We are not just learning history, okay, and learning Arabic language. That's the beauty of this book. Okay, the author of this book, he tries to bring Islam, things that are relating to Islam. So in as much as we are learning Arabic and history, we are learning something about Islam. We are learning our own history and lessons that we need to derive from that. Okay, this brings us to the end of this particular lesson. Jazak Allahu Khair. If anything is not clear, you can try to contact us. We'll try to make things further clearer for you. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. Finally, we are done with المنارة تتحدث. This is the last of this such lesson. جزاكم الله خيرا.